Hey guys, this is just a quick video, a general overview for the Infinity Core. Now, I'm going to go over just functionality and also just some best practices for caring for your Infinity Core. Now, if you, when you purchase an Infinity Hilt, if you also purchase the core, I will install it for you. However, I want to go over how to take the core out of the hilts and put it back in. And also, if you decide to buy this later or an additional one, this video just kind of helps go over some of those best practices. Now, when you purchase the Infinity Core, it will come with the battery as well as a charger. If you have a charger, a 3.7 volt charger from like the custom Saber shop, that will also work. Now, this chassis is designed to work best with the provided batteries, and I will be selling extras if you want to have multiple ones, which come in handy because as you'll know with NeoPixel Sabers, continued use does drain the battery rather quickly, so it's nice to have spares. You'll notice if the battery is getting low, typically you'll get weird sound issues, like the speaker will crackle, or you'll get slow motion audio, things like that. That's a good indicator that you need to charge your battery. And you'll also be able to cycle through the sound fonts with the auxiliary button, and one of them is the battery level indicator, which when you have your blade installed, it will show up as a little bubble of light to show you where your battery is. So just to show some up-close features here, you have auxiliary tactile button here and your power button. Now when these insert into the hilt, they're going to be activated by plunger switches, which I'll show you. And you have this nice crystal chamber with brass accent rods and dual crystals. You'll have the on-off switch, removable battery, and your speaker cover. Now, I have physically gone through and checked every single one of these for fit and finish. These battery covers are glued back on, or glued on. Some of them were loose, and I glued them back on. We have a 90-day warranty on this, and but you know, if something happens, just hit me up. I have several installers who can do repairs. Depending on how long it's out of warranty, there might be a small fee to cover the shipping charges and whatnot, but we stand behind our work. And you have your proffie sound module and your SD card there. If you want to make changes to this, I can recommend some good websites or YouTube videos that give you all the tips and tricks for making any changes to your proffie sound card. Just real quick, I'll show you the battery. The batteries do fit pretty tight in here, so I've just been using tweezers to remove them. Just grab down on that lip, and you want to make sure that the negative side of the battery goes against the speaker spring, this spring here, and then the top nipple goes to the positive nipple side here. And then your on and off switch. Now this does have gesture control, so you have swing on and twist off. So that's a nice feature.
Hero's Journey.
So I did want to show just some best practices for when you're inserting and removing from your Saber. So I have the switch section here without any emitter shrouds. This is for Saber 1 and 2, the Guardian and the Acolyte. Now when you go to insert it, what I like to do is, first of all, there's a set screw here, and make sure that's backed out so that this is flush, if not a little bit recessed down, because you don't want anything catching on this. We made sure that these were nice tight tolerances, And again, I'm fit checking every single one before I ship them out. But this is the most crucial part when you go to insert this. Just be careful. So line this up, and then just line one of the switches up with the switch plunger. You'll see there. And these can actually be unscrewed and adjusted by turning the flathead screw there. When you remove it from the hilt, you can adjust it, but I check all of that before I send it out. But if down the road you ever need to make adjustments, you can. So again, carefully line that up. And then when it gets about here, I like to put a little down pressure on here just to make sure that the switches clear everything, so it's not getting hung up on stuff. And slowly bottom this out when the brass hits the aluminum there. And then before you tighten it, you can just kind of check to make sure you kind of hear the clicky click. If those are good, nice, solid clicks, then you can take the set screw, and you don't want to over tighten it, but you can get it snug, just so it bites down good. Because then when you insert your blade, you won't push the chassis back out, as long as that set screw is nice and tight. And the Infinity Core comes with the Starfall font collection from 3 different font makers over the years that I've paid to bring my ideas for what I like to hear in a saber to life. And so I believe there's 8 on there. All right, so removing it. Now, if you only have one switch section and the other saber both have like these switch sections, then ideally, if you want to just keep the core in, you can, because the switch section won't change. Now, I am going to show you, if you do get the Champion, Saber 3 Champion switch section, just some best practices for inserting and reinserting here. Now, if you wanted to, you could buy, one of each switch section and 2 cores, and then you're good to go for all the mix and matching, but that's not for everyone to do. All right, so to remove it, you want to just back this out, and make sure that when you're backing it out that you do back it out so you see a little bit of the threads of the set screw sticking above the threads for the switch section. That way you've ensured that it's backed out enough. And then what I like to do is, again, just push a little bit of pressure away from these switches and maybe twist towards you like so, and then you can take it out. But you can see the tolerances are nice and tight because we wanted it to fit very securely. So this is the easier one, or the less complicated to install. This one, for the switch plunger, it's a little trickier. You can see I've gone in here and I've adjusted all of them so that they're good to go. If you do need to access this box, there's I'm going to go over this when I do the breakdown for the Guardian Saber, but there's these teeny tiny set screws here that you loosen and you can remove the card, and then the plunger switch will basically fall out and you can adjust it with the screw, which I'll show in another video. But I have this adjusted just where it should be. And again, when you insert it, I like to line up the auxiliary switch with the side switch here. Now this one goes in a little further just because of the design. So once you get about here, you'll see the brass sink in just a tad. And again, you can put a little bit of downward pressure on here because we want to push it away from this plunger switch just to make sure the switch doesn't get hung up on it. And these are like, I'm being overly cautious with it just because that's how I am. But so these are just kind of the best practices. And then once that bottoms out, it won't go in it anymore. And then you can test the clickiness here just to make sure that those switches are lined up. And they are. And then you can, again, I'm not going to do it, but tighten this up. Don't forget to do that, because when you put the blade in, it'll could push the chassis back out. And then let's just make sure that's good to go.
Reconcile.
And then same thing, when you're removing this, make sure to back the screw out, put a little bit of downward pressure here, and as you twist towards you, and just kind of slide out carefully. You don't ever want to rush that process. It could possibly damage these switches, but it's not the end of the world. Just let me know if something like that happens. Again, we've got my installers standing by to take care of that for you if that happens. So that's the general overview for your Infinity Core. Let me know if you have any questions on that, and I'll answer them in the comments. Thank you so much.